Emma, an 8-year-old girl with big round eyes and a bright smile, stepped onto the yellow school bus in her new neighborhood for the first time. Her mother, Lydia, waved goodbye with dreams of a brighter beginning. But as the bus doors closed, no one could have guessed that the journey ahead would be fraught with troubles. Mr. Roman, the bus driver with silver hair and a gentle demeanor, seemed to be hiding something dark behind his smile. As time passed, Lydia's worries about Mr. Roman, a respected community figure, grew. What terrible things were happening on that bus? What was the girl enduring? And would a mother's determination to protect her child be enough to uncover the truth? Before delving into this touching story of courage and justice, leave a comment below, and don't forget to subscribe if you like this story. Bright spring sunlight stretched across the neighborhood as the Samuel family prepared for a major turning point in their lives. Boxes were piled haphazardly around them, each one holding memories and stories from the years spent in their old home. Emma, the 8-year-old girl with bright eyes and shiny blonde hair, sparkled with joy and a touch of regret as she ran around, touching the walls she had painted with so many memories. Meanwhile, Samuel and Lydia, her parents, worked together to carry the heavy boxes, sharing smiles as they went. "The new house will be closer to your school, Emma," Lydia said, her eyes sparkling. "And Mom and Dad will save time commuting to our jobs." Samuel, Emma's father, added, "Think of all the new adventures we'll have there." They could feel the excitement building in the air, but they couldn't help feeling a sadness as they left behind the place where they had created so many beautiful memories. Once the last boxes were moved in, the Samuel family felt relieved and satisfied with their new small but cozy home. Emma eagerly explored every little corner, while Samuel and Lydia prepared dinner. "I can make your favorite pasta, sweetie," Lydia called from the kitchen, making Emma happy. "Is there tomato sauce too, Mom?" Samuel laughed loudly while chopping vegetables. "Of course, and don't forget the cheese." Laughter and cheerful stories echoed throughout the house, creating a warm atmosphere within the new walls. Although they were the only family in the neighborhood, they knew that as long as they were together, any house could become a true home. Dinner was finished, and the whole family gathered around the table, happily discussing their dreams and the new life ahead. However, beneath the excitement, they felt a sense of worry. Samuel and Lydia knew they were moving into a predominantly white neighborhood, where things might not be as friendly as they hoped. They had deliberated extensively over this decision, weighing the opportunities against the challenges. "We're doing this for Emma," Samuel said one late evening. "Better schools, safer environment. She deserves every opportunity." Lydia agreed, but now, looking around the cluttered living room filled with boxes, she couldn't help but wonder, will they accept us? Will Emma thrive here? Feeling her mother's worry, Emma leaned against Lydia on the sofa. "I'm happy we're here together," she said, clutching her mother's hand. "I'm happy too, sweetie," Lydia whispered, filled with love and protection. The family spent the entire evening tidying up and preparing for tomorrow, the first day of Samuel's new job and Emma's first day at her new school. When Lydia helped Emma into bed in the messy room, she asked, "Are you excited?" Emma nodded but admitted, "A little nervous." "It's okay," Lydia comforted her. "You're brave. You'll do fine." Emma smiled. "Thank you, Mom. I love you too, sweetie. Good night." As Lydia closed the door to the room, she hoped that tomorrow would bring good things for the family. In the separate room, Samuel asked, "How did the little one do?" Lydia replied as she snuggled under the blankets. "A bit nervous, but excited." Samuel pulled Lydia closer. "As long as we're together, everything will be all right." As they drifted off to sleep, a new life awaited just outside the door. The next morning, Emma, the 8-year-old girl with a sunny smile, eagerly boarded her first school bus in the new neighborhood, waving goodbye to her mother, Lydia. After carefully checking all her belongings, Lydia gave her daughter a very pretty pink hair clip. "Here's a gift for you. Have a lucky day." Mr. Roman, the bus driver, cheerfully looked Emma up and down before smiling gently at Lydia and Samuel, in a familiar way of communicating. The bus departed, leaving Emma's parents both excited and worried for their little girl. Samuel tried to reassure his wife that everything would be fine. He took her hand and said, "Our girl will do great. Don't worry too much." While waiting, Lydia couldn't stop thinking about Emma's first day, wondering if her daughter would integrate well with her classmates, or if she would feel lonely among unfamiliar faces. Time dragged on, and she felt suspended between excitement and anxiety. At the end of the day, when the bus brought Emma back home, Lydia felt her heart race, and then the radiant joy on her daughter's face lifted the burden from her shoulders. Emma ran into the house, her eyes sparkling, eagerly telling her mother about the exciting experiences of the day, from new friends to fun activities. But then the girl unexpectedly mentioned that the bus driver had treated her rudely. "He didn't greet me like the other kids," Emma said seriously, causing Lydia and Samuel to exchange worried glances. They knew this could lead to bigger problems for Emma in the future, but they didn't want to dampen her excitement about the first day. Lydia smiled, stroked Emma's hair, and said, "Maybe he just had a bad day. You made new friends, right?" Samuel nodded, trying to steer the conversation towards Emma's more positive experiences so she wouldn't feel burdened. After Emma shared about the bus driver's rudeness, Lydia and Samuel sat down together to discuss what she had said. "I can't let this make our girl worry more," Samuel said, while Lydia nodded in agreement. They both understood that speaking up about this issue could create unnecessary tension for Emma, especially since she had just had a memorable first day at school. "Maybe we should let her feel comfortable in her own space," Lydia suggested. "If something serious happens, she will tell us herself." Samuel smiled, feeling more at ease with this decision, while both turned their attention to their daughter, hoping that tomorrow would bring better experiences for Emma. As life gradually settled into a stable routine, Lydia began to notice a change in Emma. The once energetic and lively child became quiet and less talkative. Every time Lydia asked about school or new friends, Emma only gave brief responses, her eyes seeming to avoid contact. Despite Lydia's efforts to spark conversations, Emma insisted that everything was fine, but Lydia couldn't ignore the growing sense of unease in her heart. She decided to share her concerns with Samuel, hoping he would understand. However, when Lydia confided in Samuel about Emma's unusual behavior, Samuel thought Lydia was worrying too much. "You just need to let Emma adjust a little," he comforted her. "Every change takes time." "I just want to protect our daughter," Lydia said, her voice trembling. "Our little girl is changing, and I feel something is wrong with her." Samuel frowned, a flash of anger crossing his eyes. "Lydia, you're overreacting. Emma is just adjusting to her new life. We can't always doubt everything." Each word felt like a dagger cutting into Lydia's heart, making her feel as though they were standing on opposite sides of a battlefield. The next morning, determined to uncover the truth, Lydia stood in front of the mirror, looking into her own eyes. "I can't let this continue," she told herself. She knew she needed to investigate Emma and her relationship with the bus driver on her own. With determination and worry in her heart, Lydia began planning her own investigation, determined to discover what was truly happening to her daughter before things got worse. She felt as if a storm was approaching, and if she didn't act in time, there might be no chance to save Emma. Lydia quietly watched the school bus from a distance, her heart heavy as she saw Emma usually be the last one to board. She held her breath, anxiety rising in her chest. Why is the little girl hesitating like that? When the bus stopped and the doors opened, Lydia noticed Roman, the bus driver. He stood there, smiling warmly, chatting with the students as if he was leading a pleasant conversation. But looking into Emma's eyes, Lydia felt something was wrong. The girl nodded but seemed hesitant, her eyes both wavering and confused. Oh, Lydia couldn't understand this contradiction. Was she overthinking? As the bus faded from sight, Lydia felt a sense of unease creep into her mind. She decided not to share her observation of the bus with Samuel until she had more information. "Maybe things aren't as bad as I think," Lydia whispered to herself, but her comforting words couldn't dispel the growing doubts in her heart. In the afternoon, when Emma returned from school, Lydia sat waiting by the window, the afternoon sunlight shining on her worried face. "How was your day today?" I'm okay," Emma replied, but her tone didn't convince Lydia, making her heart tighten. During dinner, the atmosphere became heavy. Lydia tried to initiate a cheerful conversation, but all her efforts failed as Emma only responded with short answers. "Is something bothering you?" Lydia gently asked, but Emma just lowered her head, a faint smile fading on her lips. Sensing the tension, Lydia softly said, "Mom is always here if you need to talk, Emma." That evening, as the warm yellow lights from the living room shone, Emma sat silently on the sofa, her heart pounding in her chest. She knew it was time to share the burdens she'd been holding inside. Lydia, Emma's mother, sensed the tension from her daughter, so she put down the book she was reading and turned towards her, her eyes full of encouragement. "Is there something you want to talk about, Emma?" Lydia asked gently, her voice warm and ready to listen. After a pause, Emma took a deep breath and spoke softly. "Mom, Mr. Roman, the bus driver, is acting up again. He's not what everyone thinks." Emma's words hit Lydia like a wave, making her unable to ignore. "He's been making racist remarks to me, Mom. He said I shouldn't be here, that I don't belong." Lydia felt the blood in her body rush to her face as she clenched her hands, trying to stay calm. "Are you sure?" Lydia asked, filled with worry. "Yes, Mom. And yesterday, when the bus stopped on a deserted road, he left me there. I was really scared." Emma burst into tears, tears streaming down her cheeks. He's been harassing me. I don't know what to do." Lydia felt as if her heart had been torn apart, anger and helplessness swirling within her. "Emma, you shouldn't have to endure this alone," Lydia said, her voice full of determination. "I won't let him hurt you anymore." She hugged Emma tightly, protecting her daughter from the outside world, which now harbored dangers she couldn't foresee. In that moment, Lydia knew she would stand up to protect her child, no matter the cost. They decided to go to the police station to report everything. Lydia, Samuel, and Emma sat in the police office, where the bright lights only highlighted the anxiety within them. "We can't just sit back and let this continue," Samuel affirmed, his eyes resolute. But as they recounted the story, the police officer only shook his head, looking skeptical. "Are you sure Mr. Roman said those things?" he asked coldly. Emma looked up, her eyes brimming with tears, but resolute. "It's not a misunderstanding. He abandoned me and acted in hypocrisy." "Is there anyone who can vouch for you?" the officer suddenly asked, making Lydia feel like she had been slapped in the face. "We have no evidence, but he really is a bad person." At this moment, Lydia's maternal instincts surged. She shouted loudly, her voice trembling, "Please, listen to us." Leaving the station, they were engulfed in disappointment. Whispers around them and sneering looks from neighbors made Emma feel cornered. "It's just an attention-seeking stunt," a neighbor mocked, making Lydia angry. "We're fighting for the truth, not seeking attention." You're right." His voice tightly held his wife and daughter's hands, his voice firm. "We won't stay silent. Emma deserves to be protected. We're willing to expose the truth no matter what comes. Even if our reputation is damaged, we will stand up." "But they will look at you differently," Emma exclaimed, her voice trembling. "It's okay, sweetie," Lydia comforted, tears streaming down her cheeks. "We're doing everything for you. Nothing is more important than your safety." Their determination blazed like a flame, making the air feel suffocating as they realized they had to stand up, not only for Emma, but also for truth and justice. They would not let the shadows of doubt overshadow the light of the truth. One day, while the family was sitting in the living room, there was a loud knock at the door. Samuel opened it and was shocked to see Mr. Roman standing there with a group of people, his face menacing. "You fools for daring to spread lies about me," he shouted, his voice like burning fire. "Keep slandering, and I'll show you the consequences." "We're not slandering," Lydia responded, her voice filled with determination despite the fear creeping into her heart. "We're just protecting our daughter." But Mr. Roman's anger didn't stop there. "Don't think I'll sit back. If you don't want your family to get into trouble, stop right now." He suddenly pointed at Emma, sending chills through the entire family. "I won't hesitate to let that little girl know she should stay silent." Samuel stepped forward, his body shaking with anger. If you try to harm my daughter, I won't stand for it. Go ahead and try, Mr. Roman retorted, his eyes full of threats. When that time comes, you'll know what true suffering is. As the door closed, the tension in the air was suffocating. Lydia hugged Emma tightly, fear and anger intertwining within her. We can't let them threaten us, Lydia panted. Samuel nodded, while Emma looked at her parents with panicked eyes, clearly sensing that this battle had become a fight for survival.